Yo, what is really good, my dudes? It is May 16th, 2016, and we got a new RuneScape update for you. Let's check it out. So today we see the improvements of the two tech trees that we got with Invention on its release that were never fully fleshed out and nobody really paid much attention to because they didn't really bring a whole lot to the table in terms of content. So they improved that and made them much better. To even start having access to the tech trees, you're gonna need 40 Invention, and you're gonna want to go to the notice board in the Invention Guild, which is just north of the Falador Lodestone. Now, to spice up these rather dull tech trees that we had before, they're gonna be adding a bunch of, well, several new additions and inventions that you're gonna be able to want to put your hands on. For example, the most notable of which is going to be new variants on the Dwarf Multi-Cannon that do melee and magic damage. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see the uses for those two things. They're also adding a new thing for farmers. It's basically a sprinkler that's going to continuously water your allotment patches for you. I'm really not too hot on this, to be honest, because I don't know, how practically useful it's going to be, seeing as most farmers for training really do trees and fruit trees. It doesn't really seem like it's gonna really help the farming skill in the whole grand scheme of things, but it's there for you if you want to use it. The next thing we have is actually pretty cool, and it's for any of you who want to train your construction, and it is a mind-controlled monkey butler. You're probably asking yourself, how is this going to be any different from any butler that you have currently? Well, it's going to act in terms of speed and how much items it can bring back. It's going to act just like the Demon Butler. However, it's mind controlled, so this one is going to be completely free. You don't got to keep paying him every so often, every so much deliveries. So it's a free version of the Demon Butler through Invention. Not that bad. It's really not that bad. It's pretty good. And that is the gist of today's tech tree update for Invention. So there are some few incentives to get yourself started on these tech trees and check them out. So if any of those things were interesting, now you have a reason to go check out those forgotten tech trees that you never really, let's be honest, was a part of in the first place. So I just want to note also that this weekend is the Bossing and Slayer weekend, so don't forget to be doing those Slayer tasks and those Boss Slayer tasks, because it's bonus XP, it's more charms, cheaper instances, and it's going to be great. VIP tasks every task. Can't go wrong, so go slay some monsters. And finally, moving on to this week's patch notes, we got nothing super major, but we do have some performance and graphical updates to the NXT client that'll make it run more smooth with less crashes and look a little more nicer. So there's that. Aside from that, I'm just going to note a couple of more important ones for you guys. The first one I want to note says that NPCs that have been stunned by another NPC will now become immune to non-player stuns for 10 seconds up from 3. Now I can only imagine that this means it's a nerf to the stun that you get from Dread Nips. So that does not sound very good. And the duration of Barricade now scales according to the equipped shield level. So the higher the shield, the longer Barricade lasts. And Barricade now will no longer protect you from using Heal Other and Heal Group spells. Meaning that if you think you're going to barricade in an attempt to avoid the damage you receive from using these spells, don't do it, because now that's been patched. Moving on to the patch notes, I thought this one was actually pretty funny. Finally, after this long, Max has now received his Max Cape once again. So it's just a little funny thing to note. And the last thing I want to mention in the patch notes is that they've made a bunch of changes to the way you make holy water to make it a lot less tedious to make. So I'll just run down what it says here. It says that players can now create enchanted vials faster by using empty vials on the Book of Binding. Enchanted vials no longer drain magic levels or prayer points. The magic XP is dropped from 5 to 1 to compensate for those magic levels and prayer points no longer being drained. The hollow reeds will no longer be destroyed when you siphon for pure water from the pure water pool, and adding pure water to the enchanted vials to create holy water now uses the Make X system. And holy water now carries the stats and equipment requirements for a level 50 dart, but with a reduced damage and accuracy modifier versus demons. So that's really good if you happen to use holy water for your tormented demons instead of a dark light. You have that option, and it's going to be much more streamlined for you. So that is it for May 16, 2016. RuneScape update, patch notes, tech trees, etc. If you liked what you heard, was informative, why don't you give it a like, subscribe, and I'll be back at you next week for more. Holla at your boy.